to counteract what he's able to do, then Philadelphia 76 will just ride through the Eastern Conference because everything goes through Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris, but everything starts down low with the Sixers, and somebody has to be able to counteract him. And adding Blake Griffin, 6'10", 250, he can help with that.
I am nothing but excited to see to see Blake Griffin and the Nets and how Steve Nash and the coaching staff puts him, incorporates him and how they use him, because there's so many ways that they can go ahead and do that with Blake Griffin. So yeah, that's something I'm really excited to see.
Yes, and I'm happy he linked on with a championship contender, and he'll make the Brooklyn Nets that much better. And we'll see once they resume the second season and get everything started. It'll be fun to see. And another team that will also be fun to see, Johanna, the Phoenix Suns. They have the second best record in the NBA, not just the Western Conference, Johanna, the NBA, just behind the Utah Jazz. I'm excited to see what the Phoenix Suns are going to do starting Thursday night in Portland against Dame Time and the Trailblazers. They had a great first half of the season. Why just continue on in the second half? Just keep that train rolling.
So the Phoenix Suns, okay. Yes, they were, just in the division, they were number 2. Now they went from not only the division, but like you said, at number 2 in the league. So now, remember we had talked about last week, the Suns not getting any love and recognition of the team that they are and what they're able to do and how far they've come. So actually, it's kind of funny because after last week's show, I believe they played the next day. They had a game from the day that we did the show, and the game was on TNT, and they were actually talking about the Suns and how if you're not looking at them or think that they don't have any potential or just don't have them under your radar, that you actually should have them because of the contending team and with Chris, not only having Chris Paul and having Devin Booker, but just going back from the bubble into this season and just the turnaround and what the team and how it's building and how it's the team that just the season that they're having. And now they're seeing that now there's that attention that they were not gaining as much. Now the eyes are on them.
In just a short amount of time, what James Jones, the general manager, and Monty Williams, the head coach, have done to change the culture of this organization and bringing a guy in, a first ballot Hall of Famer, and Chris Paul, and the impact that he's had on this basketball team. And you see the maturity and the growth of DeAndre Ayton down in the middle, the 22-year-old. He continues to get better every game, Johanna. And, of course, we talked about D-Book. I mean, what more can we say about D-Book? He just continues to shine right before our eyes, game by game. He takes over games, and he shows why he should have been an all-star. He should not have been voted in. He should not have been a reserve just because Anthony Davis got injured. He should have been an all-star. And that's going to fuel his fire for the second half of the season. You know it is, Johanna, for him to be slighted the way he was. He's going to come out on fire. I'm looking for him to come out on fire, hopefully Thursday night in Portland against Dame Time. Ooh. Yes. Yeah.
So, we talked about the All-Star game. That makes it the midpoint of the season for the NBA. So now it's just not that it was already, basketball being excited and whatnot and, everything that's happening. This is what it's full steam ahead now. Going forward, Ed. This is where, not that it didn't matter before, part, 1 of the season, part 2, the second half, it's a whole other story. So it's something that you definitely need to keep a close eye on the Suns, keep a close eye on the divisions and on those rankings league wide. So with that, I am very excited and very anxious. Of course, anytime that I do watch the Suns and I want to see a game, the unfortunate happens, Ed. So it pains me that I cannot see an entire Phoenix Suns game. You know why, but for our listeners who may not know this, every time that I do make an attempt at watching the Suns game, or anytime that I do, if they're winning, they end up losing, or some type of losing situation starts to happen. As soon as I don't watch or stop watching, then it's a different story. The Suns, they're on it. They win. They turn it around. If they were losing, I don't know. But I don't know. We need to do something about that, Ed, because I cannot not watch a Phoenix Suns game, especially if they're going to be going into the playoffs.
Fortunately for you, there's so many other ways to support the Phoenix Suns. You can at least look at the box score as the game's going on. Look at the game cast. You just can't watch the game because you can't even do that. No,
it's not the same.
I know.
It's not the same watching a box score than actually watching the game live on your TV.
Oh, it's not
the same energy.
It's so exciting that the Suns are the second best record-wise in the NBA, Johanna. And just a few short years ago, they were one of the most putrid teams in this league. Yeah, they were awful. And they went through so many head coaches and so many general managers before they found the right combination in Jones and Williams. And now this thing is working like clockwork. They're rolling like mid-season form. We're in mid-season. They're in mid-season form.
And what would you do in the playoffs? The Brooklyn Nets and the Phoenix Suns.
In the NBA Finals? Steve Nash against his former team?
What would Ed do?
I would freak out. First of all,
like me with Green Bay and Tampa?
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady situation?
I'd be a nervous wreck for all 7 games of that series if it goes 7 games. But that would be so awesome for the fact that if the Suns make it out of the Western Conference and they get past the Utah Jazz, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Clippers, the Portland Trailblazers, the Nuggets, there's so many good teams in this Western Conference. If they were able to top all of them and make it to the NBA Finals in such a rapid fashion, again, after the years of losing, the years of just being at the bottom of the league itself and just being the laughing stock, for them to come this quickly toward the NBA Finals, that would be great. Who would you go for? Well, I know who you would go for, but you'd be so torn between Nash and D'Antoni and Amari in Brooklyn, and then you got the hometown team here. You've got so many different feelings. Who do you go for? I know I'd go for the Suns, clearly. I'd love for them to win their first championship.
I know. They would both be going for the first championship if they do come to meet, in that scenario. I don't know.
I love that they're winning, and they're a dangerous basketball team, Joe. And if they keep stacking wins, they're only going to get more dangerous, and just keep winning. We haven't had this basketball.
That's all they need to do is keep, focus on that day, focus on that game, focus on winning, and just, and one of the things that I see the Suns in what I've seen them, especially last season and this season, these 2 seasons, is that you see them more like they're enjoying and having fun playing the game. Something that you've seen than in these 2 seasons that you have in these seasons before, at least since they were a contending team, but in that time frame. So I think that has also changed and played a role in that as well. Now with having Chris Paul in there, you could say a veteran and being in that type of having that type of role with the team, and then just his presence and what he means, as a player who's been in the league for many years, the mindset and everything, they needed someone like Chris Paul. And I think that also has contributed even more to their success this season.
No disrespect to Ricky Rubio. He was a really good point guard last year for the Suns, but Chris Paul just brings a different element to the basketball court and a different element to an organization like the Suns. There's nothing like it. And I read an article the other day about how a lot of people around the NBA believe that once Chris Paul is done, he would be able to slide right into a head coaching gig, just like Steve Nash did with no head coaching experience. I know Chris Paul would be a fantastic head coach for an NBA franchise. Would he not, Joe? First ballot Hall of Famer? Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Why not? Oh, my goodness. So much basketball talk. So moving on with basketball, you ready to talk some March Madness, Ed? Some NCAA tournament action?
Yes, it's that time of the year. Johanna, can I break some news here?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Les Miles is out as the Kansas head football coach. They fired him after they put him on administrative leave. So he is no longer the head coach at the University of Kansas. After that report came out about all the sexual allegations, everything that went on at LSU with Les Miles 8 years ago in 2013, he was put on administrative leave by Kansas, and then now he is no longer their head coach.
Wow. I don't have any words for that, Ed. I really don't.
For everything that came out in that report that Les Miles did to those young ladies, I mean, I guess this is a just reward for everything that happened at Louisiana State University. I even hate to just even read this article about all the inappropriate behavior, everything that happened that they came out with this investigation. It's just horrible. And yeah. He's put in place of the LSU football program. I mean, he's got the ultimate responsibility to raise up young men, Johanna, and make that program great and raise up some young men. But he wants to go and do everything that he did that came out with this investigation and just soil the university. And now that cost him there, and that cost him now at the University of Kansas. And I don't know if any other school would want to take a chance on him as a head coach. He's already struck out twice. The
only thing that I will say and comment on this is that these actions, you have this type of role, you head coaching or anything like that, and you have such a integral role with the university or a team, and related to sports and just university overall, and you do actions that are, not good, which then result in you losing your job or anything like that. This taints the university's image, program as well. So for university to come back from such a thing, whether that LSU, Kansas, that's something hard to come back from. And as a university itself, Les Miles has a lot of work to do and to come back from this. And that's all I will say in regards to that.
3-18 in his 2 years in Kansas. I don't know if his job was clearly on the line, not just because of what happened at LSU, but for the fact that he's lost 18 of 21 games at Kansas. So I'm sure the administration at Kansas was possibly already considering maybe making a move with Les Miles on the fact that they weren't winning football games. But now you put on top of that this explosion of news that came out of LSU. You just pile problem upon problem upon problem, and now you get this end result that he's out in Kansas.
Going on to happier and more exciting news, Ed. Going back to college and basketball and news, NCAA tournament is going on as we speak. Can I just go ahead and kick it off with this? Because I'm just jumping with happiness. Pretty much that Gonzaga, my Bulldogs, they've won Monday night. They beat St. Mary's 55-78. They're still number one. So excited.
Joe, they're the last man standing as far as being undefeated, 25-0. They're definitely a number one seed. Whether they went out in the Western Conference tournament, which it seems like it, that was a semifinal. I don't see anybody beating this team. And once they get to Indianapolis and the Indiana area, they're going to be so hard to beat. They're already so hard to beat. Nobody's beaten them this year. They're 25-0, but they held St. Mary's to. They were 2 for 20 on 3-point attempts, Johanna, just 10% from that standpoint. They out-rebounded St. Mary's by 13. It was just an absolute domination. Their biggest lead was 30. They won by 23. This Gonzaga team is so stacked. They're so strong. And if there's any year that they can win a championship, it's this year. They've been knocking on the door to what? Oh, okay. You don't want to jinx it? Okay. Sorry. It's going to be so exciting. Michigan loses to Michigan State over the weekend, and they drop to number 4. Illinois jumps up to number 2, and there's so many flip-flops. Oh, no, Baylor's still number 2, I believe. Illinois is number 3 or they're number 3.
Illinois is number 4.
Number 4. Okay.